Hello and welcome back to Sheltered Sages, but not actually Sheltered Sages. This is like behind the scenes of Sheltered Sages. So I am here today to show off the technical side. Oh, let me get closer to the mic. Technical side of all the things that are happening here. So as you can see, this is not the normal lighting because we're at a different time. Usually we film at night, but just showing off what it looks like here. And then also I'll show what it looks like from my perspective. There's my laptop over there. There are two cameras that are just sitting, getting the angles of what's going on, which is great. And then there's us. So you can see we've got like a timer, we've got it recording, we've got multiple angles of camera that's there. Of course, we got two mics that are connected in, two camera angles. So there's one camera angle. Then of course there's the other camera angle on the other side that we keep up with. Now, that's like the cameras and visuals that are there. Let me switch over to lighting. So basically for lighting, we're using this big soft box that's here. That's our primary light that's around. We also have this big light that's over in the corner near my guitar in the corner there. So this is lighting the background so we can see it. And then another angle that you guys have probably never seen before. This is what the actual background looks like. It's pretty neat. I like all the little things that are there. Got a blanket in the corner. But yeah, this is a really neat little backdrop that is set up. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like without the light too. Let me turn off this light. And let me turn off these lights over here. And this is kind of what it looks like without any lights in the shot. It's kind of dark, dim. Even that kind of connects off dark. But yeah, that's kind of the setup that we have for the podcast. Kind of fun. Hopefully this makes sense. Oh yeah, so as far as cables, let's talk about that. So we've got a cable that's running all the way from the laptop down this like braided cable thing, all the way down over here. And then it goes up behind here and into this box area where we have the splitter for all of our audio. So this is a 4-channel headphone amplifier that just allows us to plug in our headphones, and then our headphones plug into these things over here so that Andrew can hear and that I can hear while we're doing so. We also have this little cute little sign that's there where it basically lets us know how many subs we have. So if you sub live while we're recording, we'll be able to see it and cheer and be like, yay, that's exciting. Yeah. So that's like the physical tech tour of the setup that we have here for Sheltered Sages. Now let's go into post-production because I think that's going to be even more fun. All right. All right then, welcome to the post-production side of things. You can see my Premiere up on there. Now I do not edit the entire videos in Premiere. It's just for a really cool trick. So what you can see first is when I'm recording, I don't just record the single frame that's both of us here where we're both talking. And I'm going to mute both of these so we don't have to worry about it. It's just both of us that's recorded, and you can kind of see here I have the full thing on that main camera so that if I ever need to cut back and see both of our reactions, I have it. That's also the Brio webcam, which is fantastic. It has a very kind of closed in view, so you don't get like a bunch of the edges towards it, but you know, still wide enough where we can get close enough to be able to get some depth of field there. Then we also have my camera, or the camera that's pointed at me, which for this one, it wasn't correctly set up. So we've got these letterboxing on the side of it. The rest of them do not have that. And I fixed it. I just didn't know at the time because we were trying to record really quickly. So yeah, don't mind that. And then we have Andrew's cam that's over on the other side with a 24mm lens there. Got some really pretty depth of field there. Good on that. Like, it looks wonderful, very sharp, very focused. So I have OBS basically recording all of this, and you can kind of really see I have the entire episode with just his camera. I have the entire episode with just my camera. So if we need to cut back afterwards in post, we can. And I generally do all the cutting or clipping between there in post. Even though you could do it live, I do it in post because it makes it easier, especially if he's like going to make reaction or we need to cut away from him for some reason, like because he needs to drink something or I don't know, whatever. That's what we do. Okay, so we have these in here. I used to just take it over into Final Cut and then edit it from there, but I found this new cool thing, which is, if I go into extensions, it's Autopod multi-camera editor. Now, when you set it up kind of like this with it, oh, the other part is the mics also feed into this one video file that's here. So I love it. I don't have to worry about taking audio pieces in there. It's all connected to the same one, and I can take 3 or 4 mics into the same thing. But anyways, Autopod, this is great. It's fantastic. Basically what I do, I have a whole thing set up for it. It can read who is who, so it knows that I am the first mic over here and Andrew is the second mic. And then it also knows which angle is which over here. So video 1 is all speakers, video 2 is me, and then video 3 is Andrew. And once it knows who's talking when, I can just go over and hit create multicam edit. This is the coolest thing ever. It reads through the entire thing, makes sure that it understands which person is talking when, based off of which mic was more active, and then it basically just goes in, and you'll see soon, because it's reading Andrew's mic afterwards. Once it figures out who's talking when, it should just start cutting, like live, and you'll see how quickly this thing just really, like, look at this. And this is about an hour, 55, or I think it's 54 minutes just worth of just content that it's cutting through. I'm not speeding this up. It's just going. And I love it. And so basically, instead of me having to go in and see who's speaking and cut to their camera when they're speaking or cut to the medium, like the main shot, the wide one, when both of us are speaking, this is doing it for me. Every once in a while, I'll choose a weird thing where I just want to stay on the one where we're both talking, or it'll get my like cough or Andrew's cough and focus on us instead. So I'll have to flip it. For basically, this does like, I'd say 70 to 90% of the work for the episode. It is incredible. So this is great. And then boom, it says Autopod multi-camera editor has successfully completed. Then if I play through it, just to give you guys an idea.
Anyways, I thought it was a little strange. I said something polite about wanting to hear from him. She just didn't get the hint and kept coming into the camera frame during the interview and interrupting her son to answer questions for him. Yes, I know. It's wild.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I asked a few questions.
So you can see it edited it together. It put it back and forth between each of us. It doesn't have like the correct audio set up yet, but I do that in the other program. So I'm not going to show you the super complicated way I get it out of this program, but it's basically I go over to export, which is going to be over here, and then I go to Final Cut Pro XML. Once it gets to Final Cut Pro XML, then I go back into something else and continue on. So you can kind of see all those documents there. So then basically I go from here, I export it out to XML, I go into Resolve, import it into Resolve, and then export it back out into an actual Final Cut XML, because you can't read, our Final Cut Pro 10 or X can't read the Final Cut Pro XMLs that this system is outputting. So let's pause here and then pivot over to our Final Cut instead. All right, and here we are in Final Cut. You can kind of see in episode 305, which is the next one's coming out, a little sneak peek. This is what it looks like once I get the XML, or the document that gives the project or the timeline in there, back into Final Cut. It's all these pieces pieced together. I put in the title intro thing here, but basically once I get it here, I can just play it.
Welcome back.
Oop. The audio sounds terrible for another reason. So let's actually get into how this is built out before. So basically on top, we have Andrew's cam over here. On the middle, we have my cam that's there. And then on the bottom, we have the wide cam with both of us. Now, for the wide cam, I have it in a nested kind of thing. I think it's like a, what's it called? A compound clip. Yeah, a compound clip there. Why I have it in compound clip is because this is the main audio where I can edit it across it. And even if I cut it, as you can see, I kind of cut some things out of the episode earlier on. It doesn't mean that I have to apply the filters for the audio for every single section. I can just apply it once and then it goes for the entire episode, which I love, saving me time. What you'll see a lot through this is I like to save time. So when I open up this main compound clip, you'll see we have one audio kind of line over here and then a second audio line underneath. This is basically my mic and Andrew's mic. So why my laptop is taking so much time is because I have a few audio settings towards there. So we have channel EQ over here to kind of make our voices sound a little bit deeper and more like podcasty. We have a compressor that makes our voices sound a little bit louder. So even the low parts of it will sound louder and the high parts won't sound too blasted out. You'll be able to hear us really properly. And then our X11 Repair Assistant, which is one of my favorite plugins ever. If I open it up here, you can kind of see it's doing a denoise, de-reverb, it's shaping our voices, and it's giving us a de-esser so we don't have a bunch of these like S's and P's and pops into the mic. It kind of cleans all that up. It's very heavy on the computer processor, and that's why you cannot play it properly while this is on. Like if I try to play it right now, it sounds like this because it's trying to process it and it can't. It sounds terrible. You cannot edit like that. So usually I put these on and then I turn this off, and I'll turn it off for both so that we don't have too much on it, because you can't really listen to it live. And then when you play it...
But it's good to get back into the Reddit stories, and boy, do we have some Reddit stories today.
Oh gosh, oh no, you're saying it like there's something very, very dangerous that we're about to get.
You can see it works, it's great, and we sound great, woohoo! And then I go back over to the main one, and I can basically scrub through.
First of all, you're a picklefoot for a long title for this story.
It's going to be a fun one. And then also, whenever we get into our section for the music, you can kind of see I have underneath it for the intro. It kind of comes in with the audio beforehand, and then we cut over to this really cool transition, and it pops into it with the animated logo. I found a really cool way to do this one too, because if you open it up, I can basically put anything behind the logo, any video I want, and right now it's just some stock footage of the forest. So that's it. Then we go over and I can cut between these different things, kind of making sure everything is flowing properly, cutting out the places that we paused, if there's coughs or there was other noises. I put in these markers that let us know when is each. So story 2 is over here, and then the first one is story 1. And then basically I render it out. I have this really cool thing over here where it says export podcast. Basically what it'll do is it'll export a PNG or an image of actually a JPEG of wherever I have the playhead. And then after it does that, it'll export out the full video by itself. That way I can get a thumbnail and a video, like the full actual episode, without having to like export out a single frame and then go over and then export out the full video. So it's all kind of collected. Before, when we were just doing audio podcasts on one of the platforms, I would do 3 of them where it would be export out a WAV file, export out a image for the thumbnail, and export out a video file for the video thing. But now that all of the platforms basically are using video, I can just upload 1. So only 2 things instead of 3. And then while I am rendering it out, I need to get like these timestamps so I can let people know when the next story is and how it's going to flow over. So I have another fun plugin. If I go over here to Creator's Best Friend, basically I can take this entire timeline, drag it into this, and it pulls from it all of my timestamps that I put into her, which should go really nicely soon, hopefully. There it goes. So you can see the start, story 1, story 2, and the ending for it. Isn't that fantastic? So yeah, it's a shorter episode, but you know, it's a fun one. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So I can copy it to clipboard and then feed it into the other system to get the actual full stories, which I use ChatGPT to make a lot of the thumbnail, not thumbnails, but the titles and the descriptions. Andrew generally goes in afterwards and he'll change them, but the initial like titles and descriptions are me throwing all of this information into a GPT. I think it's called a GPT. Whatever, it's like a smaller thing, and then it goes over and says, here's all your stuff, here's your description, and so on and so forth. And then we upload it to our platforms, and once it's uploaded, we have a full episode, and everyone gets to see us talking about the craziest Reddit stories online. So that's the tech tour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. But this was really fun, and hopefully you guys keep watching. All right, bye.